I was not expecting so much news over these past couple of weeks. However, Xbox have dropped some incredible news, especially when it comes to Game Pass releases over April and beyond. The service keeps on giving, and some of these games announced are certainly going to be some absolute bangers. Today, we will be covering 14 brand new games arriving onto Game Pass, and a lot of these are day one global releases covering a wide variety of genres. Before we dive in, remember to subscribe for more Xbox content, so let's dive in and see what the games are arriving soon. First up, we have a game that is indeed dropping today, and one that has been highly rated across the gaming sphere, and that is Loop Hero. From experience, Loop Hero is at first glance an absolute mess of genres that makes no sense at all, but the more you get to know about the game and its most addicting mechanics, the more you will absolutely love it. It is a unique experience with a great replay value like every single roguelike out there, but it really does stand on its own in this crowded genre. It is not a game for everyone, but don't let that sway you, as this is a very deep and rewarding game and has some charming pixel art to top it all off. It's available on Xbox console and PC starting today. Also galloping and causing mayhem back on Game Pass today, we have the return of the brilliant Goat Simulator. We all know about this devilish goat and its shenanigans that it causes across the multitude of areas that it's dropped into. If you haven't played this game, I suggest you give it a go, as it's stupid fun and can genuinely make a lot of laugh out loud moments. It is great to see this game come back to Game Pass, as it's a lot of fun, and if you're achievement hunter, it contains a lot of easy and simple gamer score. Now, diving into April 6th, we have the arrival of one of my favourite tower defense shooters, Iron Brigade. Personally, I like that they added this game, but to a lot of gamers, I know this isn't a game that excites you at all, as it's quite old at this point, and I know we all want new Game Pass releases all the time, but I definitely recommend you trying it if you haven't tried it already. You will use a combination of mobile firepower and stationary defenses to turn the tide of war in your favour. There are options to customise your trench with thousands of possible loadouts, march side by side with allies around the world, and fight your way through Europe, Africa and the Pacific. It comes out on console and cloud very shortly. Now, one game every Xbox fan has been waiting for is finally coming to Xbox Game Pass this April, exactly 1 year after its original release on PlayStation. Ghostwire Tokyo is finally arriving, and if you're like me, I cannot wait to explore this haunting and desolate take on Tokyo. In this game, Tokyo's population has vanished and deadly supernatural forces prowl the streets. You will get to use an arsenal of elemental abilities to unravel the truth behind the disappearance and save Tokyo. The combat has always drawn me to this title since the first reveal, as it's a completely unique take without the need for guns. The enemies look absolutely insane, and this update also provides a lot of new content, including a roguelike mode. It arrives onto Game Pass on April 12th. We finally have another EA Play edition, and it's a joyous occasion for all of you hockey fans out there. NHL 23 is coming to console on the 13th of April and will be available for Game Pass Ultimate and EA Play members. Now, to be honest, I have absolutely no clue about hockey, and I can't say I've ever played an NHL game before, but as many say online that this game is good and worth playing, then it's definitely a recommendation that I'll take on board. It includes a good career suite and a pretty substantial online offering with full crossplay, so definitely grab your skates and give it a go when it lands onto Game Pass very soon. Now, arriving not long after, we have a very big first party release coming from the talented team at Mojang. Minecraft Legends is a big shift away from the traditional survival nature of Minecraft that we all know and love, but instead puts us in an action strategy game where players will command armies, build bases and save the world from the piglin invasion. We saw a lot more in-depth gameplay back at the Xbox Developer Direct, and I was impressed with the amount of depth and how enjoyable this game really looks. Not only will there be a good campaign mode included, but an awesome looking PvP mode which puts players against each other in large scale battles. The idea of controlling units of zombies and creepers is certainly one I never thought of, but it certainly looks like it's a great package. Remember to give it a go when it drops onto Game Pass on April 18th. Alongside the news of these games coming in April so far, we also got the announcement last week that Cassette Beasts will also be joining Xbox Game Pass day one on the 26th of April. This is a very unique and awesome looking turn-based open world RPG where you can collect monsters, fuse them together with cassettes, and make the ultimate arsenal of beasts as you try to find your way home. It's a cool looking take on the Pokemon style battles we have seen for decades, and at this point I'm always open to experiencing these awesome indies that try to change up the already well done formula. definitely keep this on your radar, as I will no doubt cover more about this game closer to release, so subscribe to keep up to date. Before we dive into the remaining games, do remember guys to hit that subscribe button for more Xbox content like this, and let me know in the comments below what your most anticipated Xbox Game Pass game is for 2023. We then had the absolutely huge announcement at the Capcom showcase at the start of this month, and this includes their brand new IP Exo Primal coming to Game Pass on day one. Exo Primal is an online team-based action game that pits humanity's cutting-edge exosuit technology against history's most ferocious beasts, dinosaurs. Exosuits are grouped into different roles, and players will pilot these exosuits to hold firm against overwhelming dinosaur swarms in online-only, team-based action game modes. The game did have an open beta already, so I'm sure many of you have already tried it, but it drops onto Game Pass on July 14th this year. This next game is one that I know many have been waiting to hear some news on for quite some time, and that is Dead Static Drive. This is an indie survival horror game following a nightmarish road trip across a 1980s Americana, and ultimately the art style and unique premise has already sold me on this game. At its core, it is a survival game, and Dead Static Drive will see players needing to scavenge, fight, sneak, and explore in order to stop the continuing violence of an estranged father. The developers have described Dead Static Drive as Grand Theft Cthulhu in its attempt to marry hijacking vehicles on the open road with very spooky horror themes. It looks totally awesome, and we do have a release window. However, it is some time away, but it will arrive onto Game Pass sometime in Q3 2024. This next game has been anticipated and hyped by many, and is very similar in vein to Dead by Daylight, and that is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. And yes, it is coming day one into Xbox Game Pass. For those who don't know, this game is very similar in the style of the likes of Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th. One team plays as the infamous family of murderers, including Leatherface himself, and are tasked with killing their victims before they can escape. The other team will play as those victims, aiming to survive by getting away from their captors. Interestingly, the game takes place before the events of the film with a different group of victims. I cannot wait for some more multiplayer shenanigans with my friends when it arrives onto Game Pass August 18th. One game that got announced a little while ago but had no fixed release date was Coffee Talk Episode 2. We finally had word last week from the developer that this will be launching onto Xbox Game Pass on April 20th, and that is day and date and release. It's time to revisit your favourite late night coffee shop and reconnect with your fantasy friends over a warm drink or two. In this game, you're a barista, and your customers aren't always human. You will listen to their stories and influence their hearts with a warm cup of coffee. From coffee making to an enriching story, I cannot wait for this game, especially after the fantastic first entry. If you haven't played the first game, I highly recommend doing so, and it is also on Xbox Game Pass. Now, this next game is one that already arrived into PC Game Pass a little while ago. However, we finally got the announcement a few days ago that Frog Detective: The Entire Mystery is leaping its way onto Xbox Game Pass this summer. For all Xbox console users, we will finally be able to take the shoes of a detective frog in a race against time to complete 3 thrilling mysteries. This is the entire collection, so you will get a boatload of content straight out the gate with absolutely no strings attached. These aren't very long games, however they are very entertaining and have incredibly good puzzles to solve. A big benefit for all you achievement hunters out there is that these are very easy games to complete, so enjoy that little bump in gamer score. Our next game on this list also got a Game Pass announcement a couple of weeks ago, and that is the gorgeous and unique looking Venba. Venba is a narrative cooking game where you play as an Indian mum who immigrates to Canada with her family in the 1980s. Players will cook various dishes and restore lost recipes, hold branching conversations, and explore this story about family, love, loss, and more. This certainly looks like a great game for someone who loves narrative stories with an emphasis on cooking, and it launches very soon, sometime this summer. Our final game is one that also got a Game Pass announcement that week, but has subsequently been removed from their website, so do take this announcement with a pinch of salt at this current time. BackBeat is a truly creative strategic puzzle game which promises players a great homage to the 1990s ensemble drama. Each character in your band moves throughout the map in different ways, encountering unique obstacles and variety of different choices. Advancing a character consumes a turn and part of the timeline, which subsequently sets up interactions with other characters or enemies. This is a very unique game and very hard to explain, as it's definitely one that you need to try. There is currently a demo on the Microsoft Store, however However, it did have a Game Pass release date, so I expect this to launch very soon. So that's the games for Xbox Game Pass in April and beyond so far. Remember guys, if you liked the video, drop a like below, consider subscribing for more Xbox content every single week, and check out the video on screen now of 35 of the best Xbox Game Pass games that you can play right now.